morning, and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. I'm David Steele, and here's my truck. Well, here's my truck today. Today we are in a Peterbilt 579, and it's a 4x2. It's a little day cab. It's a little short. There might be some short person jokes today, but that's not intentional. It's unfortunate, let's just say. I'm going to go ahead and get stuck in. Let's get the windows up. Okay, we're on the move. Right. We have a reasonably short trip today. But we have a reasonably short trip today. We're taking a fairly light cargo, just £21,000 on a bit of a jaunt. In fact, let's bring up my trip computer. Guardrails. Okay, we're off to Barstow. We're in California. Yeah, it's not a particularly long trip, and we're doing it overnight, and so that does have some benefits. We shall come on to that in a little bit. First things first, let's go ahead and negotiate around here. I feel like I'm sitting a little low in the cabin today, but it's completely fine. Right. Turn left. So we're going to negotiate through. Whoa. We get used to these brakes. Negotiate through the city. Power today under the hood is a Packard MX-11. This is the 375 variant. So that's 375 rated horsepower and 1350 foot-pounds of torque. So no great shakes. It's kind of equivalent to the base ISX12. That's 370 horsepower rated, 1350 that you get in the vanilla game. This engine is, of course, a shameless plug, but this engine is, oh David, brake, wow. It's available in the Steel Productions engine pack. Shameless plug because it's my own engine pack that we're using it from. Let's get on the move. We're using a stock 13-speed E-turn Ultra Shift. It's an automated box, so we're driving it in fully automated today. And it's the vanilla one that comes with the game. So it's a 355 final drive, which this engine will cope with quite a shorter, taller final drive even, if we really wanted to. But I'm happy to stick with a standard transmission today. Okay. Let's join Interstate 10, which we're doing. We're going to get truck up to 55, California speed limit. So, I'll be back once we've reached a cruise, which we're almost there. No, maybe I'll just stick around. Close enough. Right, there we go. And straight away we've got to pull in. Okay, got to pull in and be weighed. Fair enough. So I'll lift off the power. I've lifted off the power completely. Now, the topic of conversation today is that of efficiency. Freight ton efficiency, to be more specific and more precise. And freight ton efficiency, it's a measurement that the American trucking industry uses, and quite possibly the European one too. It's a measure of efficiency, and efficiency can mean so many different things, especially when it comes to an industry such as the trucking industry. Because are you talking cost efficiency? Are you talking fuel efficiency? Are you talking carbon emission efficiency? There's a lot of factors to consider when we say efficiency. Because what good is getting amazing fuel consumption if it takes you a week to get there and it had to be there in a day? So, time is money, and if you have, let's just see what I weigh. 43, okay, £44,000. It's pretty lightweight cargo today. I guess you could say we're a bit short on weight. So, yeah, efficiency. It can mean so many things. It can mean time, it can mean fuel, it can mean it can mean a fuel composite based on the cargo weight that you're carrying. And you can throw everything into a great big mixing pot and come up with some kind of a ratio just to show how efficient your operation is. I'm going to hit resume on my cruise control. There we go. Take me back up to 55. And there are so many factors that will determine how you define efficiency as. So if you're looking to minimize costs as much as possible, you probably might want to look at fuel efficiency. Or let's say if you're targeted on fuel efficiency and fuel efficiency only, you may be tempted to take a lighter load. Get off the side of the road, David. There we go. Because the lighter your cargo, the better your fuel efficiency is going to be. You've got less weight to pull. So hauling 20,000 pounds or 21,000 pounds today with a fairly small engine, we should see a pretty decent miles per gallon number. We should. And I'm thinking, if I take this steady, I've got to do 55, we could be seeing 9 miles per gallon today, especially over the trip that we've got, which is 210 miles, I think it said. A longer trip, it's more time cruising, tends to use lower fuel per distance covered. And that's where freight ton efficiency comes into things. It's a measurement that's used across the trucking industry. And it has a formula, but this one is very straightforward. Essentially, it's the product of your payload, your cargo in tons, and your miles per gallon number. That product here means you multiply. So, to take simple terms here, if I manage to get 8 miles per gallon, and let's suppose I'm only carrying 20,000 pounds, that's 10 tons. A ton is 2,000 pounds. So what that means is that my freight ton efficiency is really straightforward. It's 10 times 8, or 80. Great. Well, that figure in itself, I mean, that's great. And we can compare that with, let's say you're carrying 40,000 pounds of cargo. Well, you only need to get 2 miles per gallon. No, wait, no, that's the wrong. If you're carrying 20 tons, you only need to get 4 miles per gallon to get the same efficiency there. And that, in simplistic terms, is the reason why heavier payloads are more efficient to transport. In fact, we can roll all the way back down to the Volvo D17 being used in Sweden in land trains. Wait, what was it doing? I need to go up there. Because the Swedes realized that one semi-truck, one heavy goods vehicle, whatever you want to call it in your native tongue, hauling, let us suppose, 100,000 pounds of cargo, is more efficient than 2 or 3 semi-trucks, getting higher miles per gallon numbers, but each one has to run at the same time. That's freight ton efficiency. Now, in a 2019 article I read from Fleet Equipment Mag, it said that at the time, the average American freight ton efficiency number was 72. I'm going to sneeze, so I'm going to mute myself for just a second. Okay, that was indeed a sneeze. That was a sneeze of such epic proportions, I'm surprised my cat didn't call Thunderbirds on me. International Rescue. Where was I? Yes, so the American industry's average, or the only information, the quick information I found was that the average efficiency was 72, or 10 tons at 7.2 miles per gallon, or 20 tons at 3.6. Seems a little low, but obviously there's a lot more factors that go into this. So how can we improve our freight ton efficiency? Well, the simplest way to do it is to only carry heavy cargoes. You do have a fuel consumption penalty through carrying a heavy cargo compared to a light cargo, but the relative impact of the weight of your truck and your trailer, and even the amount of fuel that's got on board, and how many lot lizards you've got in the back, and everything else that you've got with you is a lesser part of a heavier cargo. So put simply, this trip here, we're using a small, lightweight truck. It's a day cab. It's not got much extra. It's only got one rear axle, for goodness sake. I mean, that's got to be great for efficiency. Well, it's great for miles per gallon. Is it so good for freight ton efficiency? So we're going to find out what we do today. Now, curiously enough, that same article from Fleet Equipment Mag, they're talking about the Starship truck. That's the Shell-sponsored truck that aims to get amazingly low fuel consumption. But when you look into it, aiming to get amazingly low freight ton efficiency. Now, that's freight ton efficiency was 178 point something. So that tells me, I mean, it's 2.5 times more efficient than the average truck in America. How does that compare with, I mean, how do we put that into numbers? Well, it's a little hard, but what it tells me is that if you're carrying like-for-like cargo, you should save a ton of fuel with the Starship truck specification. And there's a lot more nuance to this and how you calculate that and so on and so forth. And of course, we've got to consider things like axle weights and local restrictions on payload and cargo and everything else. But yeah, a heavier cargo is an easy way to improve your freight ton efficiency. Now, everything else being equal, so same truck, same cargo, reducing the weight of your truck is another good way to improve your freight ton efficiency. So here you might decide, okay, I'm going to save weight by going with a smaller engine. I mean, that would make sense. So you might downsize from a 15-litre engine to a 13-litre engine. Or maybe from a 13-litre engine to an 11-litre engine, which is what we're doing here in the Peterbilt. The smaller engine is, all things being equal, and they never are, is going to be that little bit more efficient. I need to just stay in the middle here. I probably need to be using the right-hand lane. Let's take a look here. There. The smaller engine has got that little bit less volume. Let's go the whole hog and go the full right-hand lane here. So I'm pretty certain that this is my exit coming up. So a smaller engine, all being equal, will save a bit of motion. The big one, and that's your speed. Well, it's also how you drive. I gotta merge. Well, this is unfortunate. I can't get the way I want to go. Okay. I wonder why the road's blocked. It wants me to double back on myself, and I may not be able to do that. I'll look over my shoulder when we go past the exit road here, see if it's blocked. Yeah, it is. Okay. I need an alternative then. Wait, hang on. It might be alright. No, I think they're probably diverting traffic. Okay. It's fine. I didn't have anywhere to be in a hurry tonight anyway. Let's see. I've still got plenty of time. Yeah. So yeah, reducing the weight of your overall package. So a smaller engine, you can find a transmission or a gearbox that can do the same job as another one, but it's 100 pounds lighter. You're not likely to save 100 pounds, but you might do it. Do you really need that 300-gallon diesel tank? Can you get away with just 220? Or I suppose in the case of the 579, it might be 150 gallons or 120 gallons. Well, yes, it's useful to have more fuel with you, or can be useful, but if you don't need it, you're just carrying around dead weight. So there's a lot of factors that take in. Oh wow, I'm having to go a long way out of my way. I was hoping this would be a straightforward trip, but evidently I was wrong to hope that. enough. And so a business like FedEx, it's a FedEx truck. We like FedEx. A business like FedEx is likely going to spec its fleet trucks with a certain efficiency in mind. Now, whether that's miles per gallon or whether that's freight ton efficiency, we could ask each company to explain the reason for their spec, but probably not going to give us a straight answer. And it may be that in the case of something like the Peterbilt 579, well, we go with an MX-11 because it's just as functional as an MX-13, but it's got 300 pound weight saving, and we reckon 0.1 miles per gallon over the life of the truck, whatever that is, and its cost saving is maybe $10,000 a year, whatever the numbers are that the bean counters will come up with.
Turn left.
I'm actually going to stop here. Okay. I feel a bit bad hammering on the brakes, but I'm just going to check the map. I don't think they're going to let me through, which is really going to ruin my day. Could head back towards Blythe and then turn north on 95, but that's a long way. Well, I guess I'm going to just see which way I can go, because if I can either turn west towards basically Los Angeles and then take the 5 and then the 14, I could do that. Or if we have to go east, wow, back to Blythe we go. Could be a long trip. Okay. So yeah, lots of things to consider, and even down to the engines, and of course the gearing. We've not even touched upon gearing. 355 is a little short for this kind of trip, and you might not even want to use a 13-speed. It may be that you can get a 10-speed or a 9-speed or a 12-speed for that little bit less financial outlay up front, and maybe it's lighter. Of course, the more components in the transmission, the more parts, the potential, the more there is that you move around with you, the higher the friction, and so on and so forth. So perhaps a 10-speed is maybe nearly as drivable, and again, maybe and nearly, pretty ominous sounding words to a fleet trucker. But it might save you some weight, or maybe just saves you $2,000 up front and the cost of it, who's to say. So yes, a lot of factors to consider here when it comes to freight ton efficiency. But I think what's interesting to note is, well, one is how accurate her FTE is calculated from real trips in the game. Well, I'm going to go ahead and accelerate time here, because this could be a long-ass trip if I don't. So I'm going to stop talking, I'm going to keep driving, and I'll be back when I have an idea of what's going on. Talk to you in a bit. arduous journey. We're almost there. Use a bit of engine brake, yeah. So I had to take a couple of diversions, and I think I'm likely to show that through Accelerate Time, but we'll see what I feel like, because sometimes editing Accelerate Time videos is a challenge. Does that seem reasonable to say?
Turn right.
Seriously? Another red light. Well, the good news is, whilst I'm here, I can talk about another couple of things. So, I mentioned that doing this trip overnight has its benefits. Well, one of those benefits is it's a little quieter on the roads. And that means much less stop-go traffic. And stop-go traffic is really bad for fuel consumption. I mean, the amount of energy or the amount of fuel you need to burn just to move off from rest, as I'm discovering every single time I stop at a red light, is disproportionately huge compared with the amount of energy you need to keep the thing rolling. And so if you have to stop all the time, as I seemingly have done the whole time on this trip, it's bad for fuel consumption.
Get ready to turn.
The other thing as well is average speed tends to be a little higher when driving at night. Now, that's assuming you drive the same way, and that's simply because the volume of traffic is that much busier. You may have to idle a few seconds longer when it's busy. In fact, you probably will. And when you're idling, you're not covering any distance, but you're burning fuel.
Good driving.
That's bad for efficiency. I want to go and do the let's play it safe, although that doesn't look too difficult. Where do you need it? Just go and do that. What could possibly go wrong, right? Well, shunting backwards and forwards is pretty inefficient use of fuel, because of course you need to, you stop, you go, you stop, you go. Every time you stop and go, you need that little bit more fuel just to get the thing rolling. Oh, and I forgot it's a short wheelbase. This is going to be a challenge. Okay, well, too late now. Oh, I'm actually not doing too bad a job of it so far. As a good friend of mine would say, birdie nom nom. Then I messed it up. Come on, let's get underneath it. Still let it. Okay, I think I can recover it. And I'm not really surprised I made a mess of it. So anyway, yeah, so we talked about transmissions, we talked about travel. The way that how fast you cruise makes a big difference. So speccing the truck for the cruise that you want to maintain is important. So this set of gearing is a little short for this engine, this cargo. But as you saw, there was a few hills that we had to go up, and maybe you couldn't really tell. But it went up them pretty easily. It went up them well enough such that the gearing didn't feel that much of a compromise. Okay, let's shut it down and see how well we did. Now the trip was showing a little under 9 miles per gallon, and the hills really didn't help here. So 335, that's a lot of extra miles, and this isn't good for what we're trying to do here today. Well, it's good for numbers, I suppose. And 37.4 gallons, so that is almost exactly 9 miles per gallon. I mean, okay, great, but then we've got just under 21,000 pounds, so actually, feeding in the numbers into this, our freight ton efficiency is 94. Which is a good chunk, 25%, give or take, more than the average for the industry 6 years ago. Of course, things have moved on since then. One would hope we'd be getting slightly better miles per gallon. Well, hope you got a little something from this, me blathering on about freight ton efficiency and so on and so forth. It's interesting to see how well different trips that I've done do and using that formula. And this kind of trip, I'd get much better freight ton efficiency if I was hauling twice the cargo, because I'm not going to get 4.5 miles per gallon if I'm hauling 42,000 pounds. I may only get 6 or 7, but that's a lot more FTE than what I managed on this trip, than 94. Great. Well, like I say, hope you got something from this. If you have, you know what to do. If you thought it sucked, you also know what to do. And I'll see you the next time. Thanks so much, everyone. Goodbye.